Welcome to a late IHP show with your 5D mystic stories. And more than just that, as an attachment trauma educated person, what I can tell you is fascinating beyond a shadow of a doubt is the era we're in. So with the scientists, I have news for you. If you do meet a true spiritual master, enlightened one, and leader of any type, they will be securely attached, non-traumatized, because they have bilateral, vertical, and overall integration of the brain, which means that they don't seek external validation when they get afraid. Also means they have emotional maturity, which is why they don't say to people, you have a right to be angry and something. So I'm going to make fun of the people who talk about spiritual bypassers that are people like me, because that's, like I heard an avoidance say, because you're making fun of avoidance, I decide I'm going to talk about myself and why I'm not going to go to therapy anymore. Okay, so when people tell me why they don't do their wellness, I think, why? Because the therapist said I'm doing a good job and I don't want to journal or mindful, and plus all people are fucked up anyway, so why should I? All people are fucked up. No, not really. That's not how it works. Some of us aren't fucked up. Do we have emotions? Is that what you mean? Yes, but some of us don't suffer, because for me, as a Christian Catholic, Jesus suffered for my sins, and today I shared with you all the good news. I forgive every grown-up that ever betrayed me and betrays to this day all of that which I know God is. Discerning, wise, good judgment, equanimous, common-centered, loving. That means the oxytocin gene hormone in human terms. And when they think that by us saying we're a piece of the divine or divinity, and however many ways they want to twist our words on us, we know what non-bilaterally integrated stupid brain people do. I'm just letting you know, these are grown human beings who think they know more than I do. And then they think that they can own God. No, they can own the mediocre, ignorant human beings who are self-righteous, who are the same cowards who don't go and heal themselves with Patrick Tan. So I don't have anything to say to mediocre, ignorant human beings who actually are still talking about evil and good with their little fists, and I know they're dishonoring the very thing that they were meant to take care of, their body, because their body is not in connection. It's not a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating body yet. It's a body in survival mode, and it's also a body that does pseudo-aliveness, and then it's a body that has a brain that thinks that it's okay to get in people's faces with anger, because I still get angry with my mom. Yeah, I'm reactive still with that. I'm working on it. So the leaders that are of spirit and source and Akash and God are not going to be the ones who bring to you medieval textbooks, because the medieval textbooks, as well as a bunch of more stories, I'm going to be looking into one of them for one of our lives. I was brought forth to the attention by someone in our lovely audience that God is not being good to them, and I didn't know what they were talking about, and then they gave me a word and I thought it was a place, and they said no, it's a timeline, and I went to look at the timeline. So I'm going to be discussing that timeline. And what I have news, good news, smart human beings that are mystics and that are also spiritual, you can't manipulate your words and make us think that those 20, 30 books from ancient times are actually God's words, because again, the only ones who believe in fake people are the same ones who are fake like those people. So they will say that this is positivity, and I'll say, yeah, yes it is. It's my prefrontal cortex. It's a workout. So wellness, the mindset that I offer for our paid, free, and live subscribers is you get to be yourself. I found out how many cowards don't want to be their self. I don't go and flaunt that I have self-empowerment all day long, because shame doesn't really do well with it. And I'm 4'9", and all the teenagers wanted to beat me up. And apparently my guardian angel, which is my twin, is the one who protected me. I don't know if that's true, but if someone ever touches me, I know what I'm going to do about it. Ghostbusters, nah, 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 nah. But I've had people in my energy sphere. Oh yes, and I've had people say that black magic is real, and I'm like, to who? The weaklings? Because that's what 4D, 3D are to a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment. So age group, when you use a story and not the actual capacity to be in communion with God, one big ball of energy, and tend to remember your place, not in a way of serving anyone. No, your place. We're all different voices. My voice goes to the smart ones. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, who don't look for external validation. I don't pat anyone on the back. In fact, those people will not really enjoy my company unless they are okay with growing up and becoming actual grown-ups. Meaning loving, living, laughing, learning, expanding. Because, we don't just evolve, we also expand. The first day that I was opened up to even more, I'll never forget it. I shared the magic with the catalyst of it. Because as an empowered feminine, we know who our oversoul is. It's sad, those grown-ups that betrayed me and betray us and betray the children. And what's sad is all the spiritual bypassers who look at a person like me and say that I'm a spiritual bypasser because I'm a happy person. What's also sad is people not realizing that happiness is within you. It's called securely attached, healthy self-worth, own your sense of self, get two sides of the brain working, find out how wellness mindset works. And again, it's easy, yes, for those of us who have a securely attached, healthy self-worth, non-traumatized, embodied brain. So if you think that's lucky, I agree. And I do come from the beginning of the book of Akash, and there's other soul age groups, which is why actually people really don't like me. Personality and wholeness and therapy, I like Dr. Daniel Siegel, who gave me all the answers with the PDP framework to Maria, and it's even better than those stories from the Enneagram, because I'm not made of words. I'm made of an embodied brain, and to a default, my default mode network, it's downregulated, and the three subcortical areas, anger, check. My mother, she's the one who gets the brunt of it, and my twin. Fear, check. Panic attacks. Sadness, check. I cried because of the grown-ups who betrayed me, because you and I will connect if you're a 5D mystic or spiritual or mindful, living, loving person from the future. We will not be relatingly connecting to the insecure adaptive child part. They're devotees. They bow down to masters, and they tell us that they are the true faithful ones, like the ones who don't take their children to hospitals. So somehow they thought science was not made by God. I'm like, dude, don't you remember we're all made by God? Oh, I'm sorry, they twist the words on the whole Adam and Eve story, which I found out was a made-up story. And then again, I already know that cognitive dissonance, adaptive child part people, they fall for shit all the time, because they even fall for the pseudo-intellectuals. I fall for the people that I love, but that's okay, because I already knew that. Liar, liar, pants on fire. When I was a teenager, I met all the cowards I could. By the time I'm 19, I said, hey, God, so I met cowards, not Lucifer. Self-agents, we don't need external validation. When my mother came to spank me, I said, you can't spank me. It's on my body, 3 years of age. That's called differentiated self. And then for my soul's journey and my life path, yes, I didn't need any guidance because I already got guidance from God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. And when I became a mystic with clairs, I added to the personal development and online marketing stuff that I am already doing and have been doing. So when you have quality, it's not quantity that matters. The refinement is actually, thanks to God, giving me all the time in the world to get educated. Attachment trauma educated. That is what honed in on my answers to every single reason why all of those human beings who don't have healthy self-worth go and pat each other on the back. And when you hear somebody say rejection is protection, that's another teenager who just doesn't know how to handle rejection, and that means they need a therapist, not to healer. How dare you trauma dump? We're anointed. We're 144,000. So whenever you're hearing somebody saying they're a special group, just remember, are you special? Because all of us are special. And every single one of our brothers and sisters can get that kingdom of God, heaven in the body, but that's with good therapists. And the ones who deny it and who want to stay divisive, this is how they'll bring to the equation. If we allow our melting pot to melt, then we will have things filter in that are not good. And that's what black and white thinking, good and bad, the left brain alone, ignorant people use only a left brain. It cannot handle that which is the unknown, which is why in the depth of their own self, they don't know shit. So when you have mindful, aware human being in front of you who's a self-agent, who means, I don't know everything, and then you have God, and you know that God said, follow my son Jesus, and he shared, blessed are those who believe without seeing. Forgive your brothers and sisters, for they don't know. Then there's another passage where it's something along the lines, I will turn mothers or daughters against their mothers and sons against their fathers. So there's a bunch of different things I could quote, but that's not the point, because I forgive the grown-ups who betray us every day more with great sadness, not anger, because I don't need to correct. any spiritual master, enlightened one, or leader of any of the groups that they want to talk about, God, Akash, Source, it doesn't matter. We will already know we're good. It's going good. This is what faith is. It's called doing and being, which is why I make fun of Buddha, because he sat under a tree, but I didn't realize it's because I didn't need to do the ventral vagal toning exercises or meditation. I already had self-awareness, accountability, regulation, and I said yes to Jesus and Holy Spirit and God, which is why I said I forgive the grown-ups who betrayed us. I still forgive them. But I'm still a little bit angry. But I won't correct them because, again, God taught me not to play know-it-all. Plus, free will. Empowered feminines know free will, which is why we don't look a masculine in the eye and say, you're a piece of shit, you know that? And that's not really nice. Even though, do we wish? No, not really. I mean, really, if you want to curse in someone's face like that, that's how low on the bar you are with the capacity to handle yourself. It's really not fascinating. The cheap shots, is that what's the word? Yeah, so whenever I think of people getting insulted by anyone calling them evil, Knievel, medieval, bitch, whore, masochist, you bring it on. I mean, really, the creativity. I never understood why some people, as they got older, they're still so offended by people calling them names. I'm like, don't you know that there's this thing called, you're not a part of their group, they don't like you, they're going to just say you're stupid, something's wrong with you. I mean, that's why the teenagers want to beat me up. And this is what empowerment looks like. And spiritual bypassers look like the ones who want to get angry on screen with their structural dissociation. They only do shit like that. And really, I have now grown up words to say, I don't look up to people who are mediocre, ignorant, or disregard that they're not taking care of themselves. And then they bring to me stories, which equals not only conspiracies, they're ancient books. Anytime I'm hearing it, I'm like, you know God is good, right? Like, he always wins. So there's really no question in my mind of what's happening. I'm not a dumb idiot. Again, there's no other winner. That's it. That's why we get to look out into the world and notice how many are still on the journey of choosing if they want to become their actual self-agent. And that means if they want to join the kingdom of God within their own body, heaven. And so to become a securely attached, non-traumatized person with an integrated brain, number one, own the sense of self, consistently, personality and wholeness in therapy. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. Work with personality patterns, because that's what we do with mindfulness, mindset. I do it with the community we're building, and we do it together. And so when we're in front of people, everybody deserves to be saluted, we have what a lovely man who was on one of the lives shares, sovereignty and empathic boundaries. It was really nice. First time I heard the expression. It's compassionate with empathic boundaries, because he understood it. While the other people, men and women, and my mother included, but she just wanted to make sure that I respected what she taught me, basically, that I respected another human being. So it's fair and square, because she taught me if I can't say something nice, not to say anything at all. So the first thing she said, you didn't tell him you didn't like him in his face. That's not nice. No, Mom, I didn't even tell him behind his back. Just didn't engage with him. Oh, okay, yes, I didn't engage. No men, I didn't hug him, I didn't give mixed messages, I didn't be the friendly person that I am to my men friends who therefore they need to like figure it out, that I don't want them that way, but I'll still hug them, and then they figure it out, because that's what consistent communication means, is, oh, Maria's just an affectionate person, yes. The women, on the other hand, they're both equally, nah, you could get in his face, slap him, hit him, did they get react? No, again, I don't need to correct it. It needs therapy. He does. And I can't tell him that, because good therapists will say you don't do that. And no, I won't give him a green pass and be less serious. No. So a human being that I don't know actually gave me the very feedback, which is, you did a great job. Not that I wanted it, but it was sovereignty, check. That's a spiritual leader. That's a spiritual master. That's an enlightened one. They might just say secular, that's great. They're a myself, they're a whole self, they're a human being who knows how to respect emotionally immature people. So spiritual bypassers are the ones who are wearing cloaks from ancient news, and then they want to make it look like people who are positive vibes only are pretending. Well, they don't understand that self-agents don't pretend to be self-empowered. We don't look for external validation. We don't need you to emotionally reassure us, because we're using two sides of the brain, because we also have a heart, and we say it's going to be okay. And then, because for me at least, God is in my corner when I had talked to him, yes, about things. He knows what I think. With discernment, equanimity, and emotional mastery, I basically said, you know, I don't really care about this other stuff that I don't know what's going on. It doesn't matter because I'm still making the same choice, which is to be loving and kind and to continue doing what Jesus taught me. But I care about this other thing. This other thing that I was talking to him about is like a life-death thing. And I'm like, I know because of free will and a soul's journey that I don't have anything that I can do here. Even as a Reiki master and Akashic record reader and as a person who can pray, I still know, because I know how it works with the person's soul's journey, God and angels. No, I was talking to God directly. I'm like, so what? I can't do. So I was expressing, because see, that's when you have a healthy self-worth relationship with the parental figure and then therefore also with God. The ones who are apparently of need of a sense of reassurance from God, they're devotees, and this is a whole different way, and that's why there's a difference when you're in communion, when you're empowered and you're not like a subject following orders, any of that, but you also don't need this sense of safety of what's going to happen tomorrow, because I did ask God, am I going to die? I don't want to die yet. You know, I want to stay alive. That's my only concern. With the PDP framework, that's my number one concern, is physical safety. That's why the panic attacks. So, you know, let him who would move the world first move himself. Thank you, Socrates. I don't change, I expand, because I have a whole self. And in Dr. Daniel's course, Consciousness and Change, that's when I found out, yep, how I feel is because I own the sense of self, which is from the right mode. I own my left and right, which knows right or wrong isn't what happens. I got to 19 and I was like, okay, never say never is not really applicable. So when you meet grown-ups who don't understand that they're still children and they want to be reassured because their human secondary consciousness is something they don't own, they don't know how to be an expert yogi. I do, and an expert spiritual one, and all of it. And this type of conversation for our late IHP show makes me think of this other dude as he shares what enlightenment is in the most amazing of ways. There's only one thing: he has a low energy going on. And that's probably because he is of the spiritual soul age group, not the enlightenment elder soul age group, or however the words were, I forget. But yeah, the spiritual soul age group of the spirituality, meaning that they're still learning about their self through the stories and through the books. They have this, I know everything, I don't mean anything. It's actually kind of the 11 flight, charge. It's like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. I'm totally not Eeyore. I'm Maria. I'm a 3-year-old. I'm all of me. Yes, I use my name. I like my name, and I don't in any way, shape, or form have questions about the future, because I know who my future husband is. I ask why. And then my family makes fun of me because they say I don't love them since they're not in the future. And I said, look, I didn't have enough time to spend there. Plus, even if I did go back, because I can, I won't remember you. You won't remember me. Does it really matter? I mean, if you're curious about your future, fine. I'll go back and I can do Akashic record readings. But my family, they just make fun. They're not curious. So with that being said, 5D mystics, welcome aboard. Woo-woo pseudoscience is great and dandy. Please remember that those who are self-agents, we don't need external validation because we have an internal validation. It's called the sense of self that you observe, witness, narrate, right here. And as channelers and downloaders, we all have different experiences, but we don't use monsters' names because we didn't have monsters in our home. Or if there were monsters, that's where one got earned secure attachment. Because today I was looking at Patrick Tan, he has some great content, and one of the monsters, it's sad. Fathers, mothers, basically, he's showing what they are like, and I'm like, yeah, I see them out there. They still think Lucifer is out there because of this, and they want to talk about, again, people like me not being real because, well, neutrality has people who have their faith in humanity broken, think that that's dangerous, and that kindness is not real. And that makes a lot of sense when you know neuroception, and that the body is scanning self and others based on its first 3 years of life. So when someone who is a grown-up doesn't want the truth, shame on them, which is why, again, I forgive all the grown-ups who betrayed me and betray all the children, because securely attached, healthy, self-worth people are the future with integrated brains, thanks to science, knowing how to bring forth mental health professionals. We're all saved. In fact, I know that the people from the medieval times are quite unhappy with it, but some of them live already far, far away from us, and they don't bring their children to hospitals. So I'm pretty sure they're still using a book and or more that tells them exactly what timeline they're in. And I did have the timeline myself. I just didn't think that cognitive dissonance and structural dissociation and narratives with adaptive child, part people wanting evil stories and conspiracies, mediocrity, ignorance to continue to thrive would be out there. But I did notice the spiritual bypasser influencers, pseudo-intellectual influencers. I'm an online marketer and entrepreneur, so I'm always on YouTube and TikTok and all of it. And I'm like, yeah, there they are. I can spot their 10 Wendy's, and then I can continue to spot more of the 10 Wendy's with the Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. And now they're just beginning to look like the monkey from Jungle Boy. And then, well, no, actually that's not true. As we move forward and build our community, and as we build, I do the mindful communication skills, the different exercises, and then spotlights and readings. Anger, fear, sadness, those three main subcortical areas are what we're going to look into, but also happiness, surprise, disgust. So happiness, I've had it my entire life because I'm a fulfilled human being. And that's why people think I'm bullshit. And I say, look, I cry in my prefrontal. I don't use my temporal junction, so I don't suffer it. You must not understand it physically yet because you don't have your body in connection. I can't do anything for you until you learn to navigate your nervous system. And then if you want, you can use the mindful practices that I do, because that way you create restorative embodiment resiliency and stop, hanging out with the ones who don't know how to do ventral energy. Really, it's not something that is devastating. You just learn to handle mediocre, ignorant, conspiracy, idiotic, evil stories and good stories, and just try to stare at people with respect and love and kindness and say, okay, I'm done for the evening. See you later, alligators, stuff like that. But in the meantime, I like to joke, discernment, equanimity is really fun, and that is what God is. And then again, it's sad to say that not everybody will join us as enlightened ones, spiritual masters, gurus, prophets of the future, basically science and spirituality married together. And, having actual fun with one's own personality, because that's what the PDP framework, it helps you to actually do more with that, which is your personality pattern, temperament, and attachment. And I know all about mine. And in fact, again, to a T, it's spot on, more than the Enneagram. The Enneagram has stories for you. It has sentences. It's like, when I began reading, I'm like, okay, you're not spot on. This is not who I am. I'm getting angry. And I asked Empowered Masculine, please help me read this, because I know that you can come at it from, the vocabulary that I'm just being triggered by right now. I don't like it. They're off. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong about me. And so I didn't have to do that though, but I did ask for help, because that's when I know that anger doesn't help me to be discerning, equanimous, or loving, or clear-minded. And that the observers of me, the smart ones, obviously, they have to be empowered. If they're not, we don't pay attention to the ones who need pats on the back. They're influenced by society, and then they're influenced by their other devotees, and they're influenced by people they put on pedestals and books. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's a clear slate. I don't need all of that over there. I asked you something very clear, which is I'm just messing with you all right now. Okay, so at the end of the day, remember, good intentions are not enough. It takes the right action performed with the right consciousness to produce the necessary results. Thank you, Sadhguru. And that's why I'm very sad about the ones who are not self-agents and that are occupying positions, because they create divisiveness for no other reason except for they can't let go of a story that is ancient news with monsters. And as a mystic, again, I do astral travel. I'm an Akashic record reader. I know all about people in my energy sphere, people doing spells, and I do it this way because I laughed. I laughed on a number of occasions, and when someone did other shit, I was like, get the fuck out of my space, and I can't even begin to believe this. And then I said, dude, let's stop being a whack job, Maria. That's nothing important. That's how an empowered, enlightened one, mystic, spiritual one who's been around for eons will be sharing with you stories, which we'll have more lives, so you can join us. Again, 5D mystic, 5D honoring Christ consciousness, and the ones who don't honor any of it, God taught me not to play know-it-all, because there's no point in it. He doesn't need us to correct anything, and Akash source is intelligent. So really, the only ones who think that we are needed are the ones who are self-righteous and don't understand that no, none of us are needed. We're a collective. We collaborate together, and then we have free will. The scientists, they think we don't have free will. Nah, not all of them. Some of them, but not all of them. That's the beauty of spirit, source, Akash, God, science, all of words. They all work together when they're smart people. When they're dumb people, they just do little sword fights, which are very uninteresting. I don't participate in any of those because really I'm not learning anything. I allow myself to learn everything about the person and the situation, and then I go away and I'm like, wow, those are really great golden nuggets. And now I know your 5 Cusco hands. And by the time I'm done learning your 5 Cusco hands, you'll have interacted with me enough to know I'm an empowered one who's enlightened, who is a mystic, who won't be fucking around and to be saluted. I'm not becoming your friend. And that's it. And I found out that there's a man who thinks he's badass, but if I look away, it'll erode his confidence, which means he's not a badass at all. So when you don't know how to own the sense of self, that's why shame, blame, fault, revenge continue to haunt people. It's not monsters, it's their own homes, and they don't look at themselves in the mirrors or their homes because, well, that's exactly why I learned how not to go around telling people a lot of things, because that's not really nice. And that isn't nice. None of us have the right to tell anyone about anything except for we want them to be in their own well-being. So we don't confuse. We know what good is. Good means that you choose to support each other with love and kindness, compassion, and firm kindness is something that is real. Thank you, Terriel. And then when we meet the ones who have unhealthy self-worth, we're going to know who they are. They just talk about happy people as spiritual bypassers, and they think that anger needs to be like that, and then, just keep on watching a bunch of different soul age groups, and it's not fun at all. But again, I come from the future. So future humans, welcome aboard. Those of you who are securely attached, healthy self-worth, and do enjoy doing thoughts and emotions. Who doesn't enjoy navigating their own frequency and then navigating the life with others, and then being able to, enjoy all the different stories together without making it sound like it's doomsday. There's people who have the thing of watching doomsday clock, like really. But hey, to everyone their thing. So at that end of the day, what would the world be if we were all the same? Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.